Welcome back to Investing with Confidence, sponsored by Online Trading Academy on their 25th year, teaching people just like you how to trade and invest, education and content on making smarter investing decisions. And we have investing classes at our local academies. If you're listening to the show, we have a class near you. It's a physical class. And now we talked about this on the last segment. People are looking for a place to go to get hands-on learning, to
Mhm.
learn how the markets actually work, the stock market, how to make better investing decisions there. So right now you can text for some tickets for this investing class that we do on the weekends, also during the weekdays. Text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's investing to the number 210-210 for two tickets. Also a quick start kit, and this will help you get started right away. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. But also check out the YouTube show. Looks like we have some live listeners today, so make sure to check out the show if you happen to miss part of the segment. So, Al, in that last segment, we talked about different things that people need because of all this inflation. We're
Mhm.
seeing a lot of bad news come out in the markets, but it's actually a potential good thing when you know how the markets actually function, when you know that there's strategies to profit in down markets. So you're not stuck to just a one way, one trick pony, which is up. So we're seeing a lot of people that are coming to the academy that are looking for that second source of income strategy, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
They work during the day and they want to have that opportunity to have that second source or basically have their money work for them. So let's talk about that. What are some different techniques and strategies or maybe different assets that us as the public, the retail investor has access to? But also we talked about in that last segment as well, the institutions move the market. How can we take pieces of the cheese as they move it and not even be noticed?
Yeah, well, I mentioned in that first segment that we've kind of been conditioned to believe we have to have somebody do this for us if we're going to be in the markets. The
Hmm.
other thing we've been conditioned to accept is investments in something that's long term. It's
Yeah.
typically stock or mutual funds. But right now we're seeing this this is an unusual time. But right now, maybe more than any time that we've seen in the recent past, it's an important time to learn how to generate income. It's something that you always have to have, whether you're working. Why do you go to work? Why do you have a job? It's to generate income. Why do you need income? Well, it costs money to live, it costs money to have some fun. And you need to have that while you're young and while you're growing, while you're still in the accumulation phase. That typically comes from your job. But then when you go into retirement, you still need to have an income source to help you get through what for some people could be 20, 30, 40 years in retirement. That's not something that you can do on a long-term basis. You have to have a strategy that's it's a safe, reliable strategy that's repeatable and effective, not only short-term for income, but in all three directions. If you're using something that relies on the market to move only one direction, and for most people that's up. If you're just using something that relies on an up market, you're missing out on a lot. You can't, if you're looking for income, if you need additional income, additional cash, you can't wait for that to happen. So whatever strategy you're using has to work in all three market directions. So the bottom line is you never should really look at any market direction, whether it's up, down, or sideways, as a bad market or one that's better than another. They're just movements in different directions. Why is it so important now to be able to generate additional income? Well, I think we referred to this stat last week. Depending on the article or the source, anywhere from 58 to 78% of the people in the country live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
20% of those are making over $250,000 a year.
Hmm.
The inflation that we're facing now has cost the average family about $3,400, and only about 18% of Americans think that their wages are keeping up with inflation. So
Yeah.
inflation is taking a huge hit out of your lifestyle, I guess we would say. So how do you change that? I typically like to say that when people say things are different this time, that they're not. And when it comes to what moves the price of financial instruments, whether it's a stock or mutual fund or options position, futures position, forex position, that hasn't changed. That's always just following the money. But what has changed is the way that you address the markets for income. You used to be able to rely on kind of the go-to 60-40 split, which would be 60% stock, 40% bonds. That's not working now. And it's not working now because typically they move in opposite directions. So if the stock market's going down, the bond market would go up or the dividends would go up to
It's
kind of
not like that
counter that.
anymore, is it?
It's not like that. They're moving lockstep. But if just look at bonds, if you're relying on bonds as the income source, you're actually losing money. When you look at the rate of inflation, which is now 9.1%, and the bonds are, the 10-year is trading under 3%. In fact, we have an inversion right now where the
Yeah.
2-year is trading higher than the 10-year, which is usually almost always an indication that recession is coming. That's the other thing, recession. What happens when we go through a recession? Well, people lose their jobs. About 80% of the people, according to Bloomberg, in an article, 80% of the American workers fear losing their jobs.
Hmm.
4 in 5 employees fear losing their jobs. That's a high number. 54% said they would probably end up having to take a pay cut. That's another reason to know
Yeah.
how to generate an additional income.
Yep.
And then 9 out of 10 managers said they would likely have to lay off employees during a recession.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's all sorts of things out there that are going to impact the necessity of generating income. The people that are truly successful, and those are the ones you want to follow, have multiple sources of income, and only one probably is from a job.
Yep.
And jobs can go away. Those other sources of income, it really can't. There's always a way of participating in a market if you know how to use the right assets and the right strategies. What we teach in these classes are how to use those strategies, what those assets are, how to use them not only for income, but for true diversification,
Yep.
and also for multiplying the impact of your investment dollars
Yeah.
using leverage. So every dollar that you invest is going to control a multiple of that. Could be 10 times that, 50 times that, 100 times that. That's how you really get some benefit from the money that you are making.
Yeah, and you were actually talking about earlier too with stocks and bonds, the ratio there, and which isn't very good. It's what's what stinks and what stinks worse right now, right? But also a lot of people. I was actually having a conversation with somebody. I think it was last week, a good friend, and they were talking about, yeah, I'm just gonna go invest in gold because that's really good too. And I was like, well, that's interesting. If you look at gold right now, that's actually down as well from March, actually down about 17%. So that's not like that safe haven that what it used to be. So things are different. That's why you need different assets. You need different strategies based on what the market is actually doing. And that's a good thing that we do on this show here, Al, is we talk a lot about the good, the bad, and the ugly. That way our listeners are making more informed decisions and how to use that. But here's the key, Al, is you have to be proactive. You were talking about earlier was it 58% of people are going to take a pay cut or something according to Bloomberg, whatever that stat was. That's pretty high.
Yeah, about 54%.
54%. I mean, that's crazy. But so now is probably the best time to prepare. You need to do that before. That way, if that does happen, hopefully it doesn't. But if it does, you're not just relying on less. Hopefully you've already built that strategy to have extra income or that opportunity. So we have investing classes right at our local academies here to see what those opportunities are, to see what those strategies are, to be proactive, to have different income strategies or the opportunity to create that. But you got to learn, you got to get started. Now is the time to do that. So I have an investing class tickets let's do for a text here again. And so text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text investing to the number 210-210 for 2 tickets. In this, when you get registered for this investing class, by the way, it's free, you're going to receive a quick start kit. And a lot of people I've been talking to have been like, I've been wanting to get in the markets for several years. I just didn't know how. I see it on TV all the time, and I didn't know how to do that, or I didn't know where to go. In that quick start kit, that'll actually have information on how to get started right away, how to learn the different techniques and concepts, and get some terminology to know what people are talking about. So text the word investing to the number 210-210 for free tickets for an investing class at our local academies. So Al, you're talking about multiple sources of income, right? It's the successful people have more than one. I believe the stat is around 5. We talk about that several times per year, I guess, because we want to make sure our listeners understand that there are things or opportunities that you have to do better, right? And you talked about leverage, having your dollars go further for you. So in the markets, there's two assets that have great leverage, which allow you to be capital efficient. It's futures and forex. Explain kind of what those are and what are some of those opportunities that our listeners might have access to that they may have never heard about before.
Well, you have access to both of those, both futures, forex, and then let's put options in that category also.
Sure.
That's another leveraged asset that you have access to. Who's using those things, and why aren't you aware of them? Well, the probably the firms that you have your money with are using them. They have traders that trade on a daily basis, professional traders, hedge fund managers. They're all using things that are different than the typical retail trader. The retail trader, that's the public, that's you, are typically put into something that is really intended to be a long-term hold type of a portfolio. Well, that may be okay for what's coming down the road as long as you manage it properly, but it's not okay if you need money now. What if you have an emergency? What if the income from your job isn't covering all your bills, allowing you to have some fun? What if your job goes away and that income goes away with it? What do you do? Well, the assets that the firms are using they're using them because they have leverage. Number one, they use them because they also are short term. These firms to boost their bottom lines, to have good bottom lines, need to have profits on a short term basis. And if you're looking for income, you need that too. It has to be something that is short term. You can't wait 10 or 20 years to pay for something that you need to pay for today or tomorrow. Futures is probably the shortest term trading vehicle, very fast moving. Doesn't mean you have to be sitting in front of a computer watching it. We show you how to identify what part of that family you're trading, set a trade so you're already positioned when the institutions make their move, and also you're positioned with protection and you're positioned to protect a profit, any profit you have. Futures market, that is like a family of things. It's like a family of things that are totally unrelated to each other in many ways.
Yeah.
Some are, but
You mean corn isn't related to
the S&P 500.
S&P 500?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can have a truly diversified portfolio. It's probably the best single asset family for diversification. Some things are inversely correlated. Some have no correlation.
Basically, what
Some,
inversely correlated means when one goes up, the other goes down.
exactly. It's going the opposite direction.
So that's how you hedge and protect your positions.
Exactly. People have heard of hedge funds. That's what they're doing. They're hedging their positions by using some of these assets. Well, they're great for short-term trading. They're great for hedging or protecting your position. Futures and forex and options can be used in up markets, down markets. Options are a great asset to use in a sideways market, but in the futures market, you're looking at a number of things. The major stock markets, the commodities. Josh mentioned sugar, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention his favorite,
Lean hogs.
lean hogs, oil, gold, silver, a number of things that you have access to that really can diversify your opportunities, and not only that, but diversify the protection and potential movement of your portfolios.
Yeah. The key word there, Al, it was right at the end. I want to make sure our listeners understand because I think this is important. Opportunity.
Mhm.
You know, that old acronym or that term POUR, right? It's actually passing over opportunities regularly. And if you're one of those people that likes to take advantage of opportunities, all you have to do is learn those different skills and techniques, but you have to take action. We have investing classes at our local academies. If you're listening to the show, we have a class near you. So text the word investing for some free tickets for this class. Investing to the number 210 210. That's text investing to the number 210 210 for some tickets to an investing class. The great thing is they're during the week. They're also on the weekend or in the evenings. They're about 2 hours. And hopefully that'll start your journey to make smarter investing decisions. So text the word investing to the number 210 210 for some tickets and a quick start kit that will help you get started right away. So if you're brand new to the markets, have never traded, invested, we see people that actually are in the market like 401ks, IRAs, and they want to do things more proactively. That'll actually help you get started right away. So text investing to the number 210 210. Coming up next, stay tuned. We're going to talk about some retirement strategies. Retirement accounts are going down, 401ks and IRAs, if they're being managed. We're going to talk about strategies and techniques to protect those and hopefully have opportunities as these markets are going down. Coming up next. We'll be right back.